Shall we all be seated? Thank you very much. Without further ado, we go straight to the event we've got here. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the 2019 Kwara Governorship debate. This 22nd day of January 2019, which is being held at the Hall A Kwara Hotels on Madu Bello Way in Ilorin. We begin this event properly. Please, those of us just standing around the doorway, shall we all proceed into the event, even as we bring up the candidates we've got right now. My name is Babatunde Femi Okola. I work at Royal FM and I will be moderating this event as well as sitting as a part of the panel. Please let's all be seated. We'll be going straight to the rules we've got, but first and foremost, we'll be bringing in our governorship candidates. Are they set? Are they ready for us? All right. And so, and sift through the minds of the people who will be sitting down and conducting the affairs of this great state, Kwara State, Nigeria, which has become at the epicenter of certain good happenings amongst a couple of other things, but we are proud to have the candidates join us today on the program. Well, I'll be going straight on to introduce the panelists in a bit, but before then, we will be bringing in the candidates who will be joining us in the alphabetical order. We have the podium set. They will be mounting the stage shortly. I've been told they're good to go, and so we can begin this event properly. Well, joining us on this show, on this particular special segment, we have joining us on this particular event, we have the first candidate who will be mounting the stage. We have the candidate for the African Democratic Party. Is he here? That's talking about the person of ours, the Isa Mansi. Is he here? Is he here? Do we have the candidate of the ADC here? Please come in. He's on his way in. All right. All right. And so, in alphabetical order, we have the candidates for the ADC. We hope he's in the hall already. We're waiting for him to mount the podium, even as we begin this event properly. Please, time is of the essence here. We also have the gentlemen of the press joining us on this particular, for this particular program. We have the pressman from the nation. That's talking about Mr. Adekunle Jimo. We have from channels represented Michael Ibu, and we also have from Royal FM Mr. Olarotimi Oshin. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on this special event, and also talking about the coalition that makes up KWACOBPA COBPA, even as we await the arrival of our guest. On this debate platform, the Abundant Nigerian Renewal Party, that's the ANRP. The candidate for the Abundant Nigerian Renewal Party, please mount the stage now, please. Kindly mount the stage right now. We await your presence here so we can begin this debate right here. The members of KWACOBPA, members of the press, and Nigerians, Kwarans right now are waiting to have you on this podium. And also, well, joining us as well, while we wait for the member of the ANRP, is he here? The candidate for the ANRP, that's talking about Dr. Abdulmumin Ajia. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Please kindly mount the podium. A round of applause for him, please. A round of applause for him. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I've just been notified of the fact that thank you so much, please mount the podium. I've also been notified that the candidate for the ADC, that's the African Democratic Party, Barrister Isa Manzuma, is also joining us right now. Kindly mount the podium, please. Kindly mount the podium, Dr. Isa Manzuma. And also, well, do we have the All Progressives Congress? A round of applause for him, please. Thank you so much for joining us. And last but not least, we have the PDP, People's Democratic Party. That's Dr. Razak Atuma, he's in the premise as well. All right, we have, where is the candidate for the DGC? Barrister Isa Manzuma, please mount the stage. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Well, without further, let's all be seated, we begin this event in earnest, please. I didn't mention anyone. My name is Babatunde Femi Okunola. I work at Royal FM. I will be moderating this event as well as working as a panelist right here. And I also have joining me right here, please, of Mass Communication, University of Illinois. A round of applause for him, please. All right, so bring your indulgence. This is being televised live, right?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am a business person and I'm going to make this as telegraphic as possible because I know we are running out of time, so please forgive my inadequacies. Now, I am highly delighted to welcome everyone to this interactive session or debate where it's an avenue to meet with the personalities who have offered themselves to serve the people and interact with them vis-a-vis knowing how prepared they are for the great responsibilities ahead. The position of a governor in a state is as important as it is exalted. Hence, the citizens, particularly those residents in the state, must not toy with the choice of who occupies that position. This is the principal reason why KWACOBPA deems it fit to organize this important debate with the governorship candidates of the various political parties. It will assist the electorate to make informed decisions as regards who they should give the mandate of piloting the affair of the state. Kwara Coalition of Business and Professional Associations is a coalition of 21 business and professional associations, both in the formal and the informal sector of the economy. And we are the mouthpiece of the organized private sector, OPS, in the state. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in partnership with the Nigerian Election Debate Group and CIPE. CIPE is a center of international private enterprise. It is expected that the governorship aspirants will also use this platform to unveil their agenda for the private sector as encapsulated in their manifestos and programs. The economic and business agenda of the governorship candidates is therefore of strategic importance to existing investors and prospective ones. It is therefore important for a private sector stakeholder to have an insight into the thinking of the candidates on the trajectory for the state economy. As a community business people, we cannot afford to be passive on the scheme of things in the political arena. The entirety is that the quality of an economic policy is impacted by the quality of political governance. It is the economic policy that what determines the prosperity or otherwise of the economy of our, sorry, I take that again. The economic policy that determines the prosperity or otherwise of our business, hence our participation at the point in this time. It is the economic policy that will determine how equitable the society will be and the capacity of the economy to create jobs. It is the social economic policy that will determine the degree of social justice that we experience as a people. For this and other reasons, we need to play more active role in influencing the choice of political leaders at all levels of government. Furthermore, in the affairs of the state today, it must be said, we need political leaders that will galvanize all efforts towards building institutions that will promote policies that are supportive of investment and must also be said that the private sector needs to be positioned as a true engine of growth, economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very important that we develop an economy that rewards hard work, creativity, innovation, health creation, and entrepreneurship. We need to do away with structures and policies that allow rent-seeking opportunities to flourish. These are the kind of political and economic environment that investors desire. Finally, I want to use this opportunity to appreciate our collaborators and sponsors for being our source of strength, inspiration, and support, without which the project would have been a mirage. Before I round up, ladies and gentlemen, we have provided the platform for our aspirants to come and tell us what they have, how to develop an economy. We have spent our money, we swore night and day to make this possible. But unfortunately, some of them are not here. But it will be on record that we have provided a platform for them to come and showcase what they have to do, to tell us. But some of them sent in apology late last night, which the members were not happy about. Let it be on record. We have provided the platform and they are not making use of it adequately. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to implore you all to stay tuned, relax, and enjoy a very fine morning with us. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for Dr. Adeoye Raji. Thank you so much for that opening speech. Without further ado, we begin. Again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2019 Kwara Governorship debate, brought to you courtesy of the Kwara Coalition of Business and Professional Associations, KWACOBPA, in conjunction with the Nigerian Elections Debate Group and the Center for International Private Enterprise. I did mention earlier on that this event has been streamlined, hence the need to stay with the... Okay, that's KWACOBPA. Thank you very much. Without further ado, we have our candidates who are set to go on to talk to us about this. Well, thank you very much for this. All right, we begin. I did mention we have rules to go on with this event, and so we'll be going through a lot of them. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We have represented on this podium the African Democratic Party, the Abundant Nigerian Renewal Party, and the Labour Party. We do not have the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party here, and some of us wonder as to why this is happening right now. This is an opportunity to come to speak to your people. An applause, please. A round of applause. So let the cameraman capture this moment. The moment where they hug and they shake and they embrace. All right, for posterity. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. Again, you have seats behind you. That's because it's going to be quite, you're going to spend some time talking, and when you feel you need to take a seat, kindly take. While his opponents will be allowed only a minute for the rebuttal. It means for each question, for each candidate that gets to answer a question, you have the grace of 3 minutes. Every other person who gives a rebuttal to that question has just a minute. And for every time we ask each candidate a question, that will be the rule. Please note. The moderator may permit time for a particular subject, but each candidate has 1 minute only to explain and to respond. If I notice, or my colleague here notices that, perhaps you do not understand the question, we give you a minute to answer that question or to respond, please. The points must be made within the time period allowed each candidate to respond to the moderator's or panelist question. Positive, please. Keep this issue-based. Profane language and direct attacks on opponents will not be allowed in the debate. Direct attacks on the personality of a candidate will not be allowed, and we will strive to ensure that the highest sense of decorum is maintained by the candidate. The moderator has the right to stop any of the debaters who is not observing the rules. Again, I take that again. The moderator has the right to stop any candidate who is not observing the rules. There will be 3 breaks in the course of the debate. This might not be feasible though because of our time, which is why we gave you the chairs. There will be no scores recorded for this debate. You make your points, the audience and the listeners decide. You also have 1 minute closing statement time, as 1 minute closing statement window, which will be allowed for each of the debaters. Candidates must embrace themselves. You did that before, you do that after. All cell phones again must be switched off or put on silent mode throughout the duration of the debate. And our timekeeper for the control of timing is, of course, Hajia, who is seated at the extreme end of the panel table. And the first ring of the bell, Hajia would have to give a demonstration. I did mention for your opening statement, you have 2 minutes. 1 minute, 30 seconds into the question asked, you will be alerted by the ring of the buzzer. That's to notify you that you have just 30 seconds, after which you are to desist from speaking.
That we got from the public, it was actually harvested, for the past 1 week, we're having the questions down here. So you can see, I don't even know what the questions are. I thought it has been sealed. So we are going to hand it over to the moderator, and they will now do justice to it. I hope you can testify to it that it's not opened.
It's sealed.
Sealed.
You have this. The cameraman?
Yeah.
Can you capture this? So we have this.
So we are free to go.
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much.
A round of applause for him, please. Let the debate begin officially. My colleague Rachel will be helping me out with opening up the questions. Well, candidates, thank you so much for joining us. We did mention earlier on we'll start this in alphabetical order. So it means the very first question we'll be having will be started by, this first round of the debate will be started by the candidate from the African Democratic Party. And the very first question reads thus. It's simple. Why do you want to be governor? You have 2 minutes for this. Timekeeper, are you ready? Why do you want to be governor? Well, your time.
With your sense of responsibility, I want to be governor of Kwara State based on my previous record of service in the Nigerian Bar Association. I've served Nigerian Bar Association in different capacities, both at local and national levels, and received accolade for excellent performance. So having done this, I discovered my purpose in life, and I have a passion to pursue it. And I think I should escalate this to serve the generality of the people of Kwara State. And hence, this informed my intention to contest for the exalted position of the governor of Kwara State. In 2015, the Nigerian Bar Association and Ilorin branch had challenges of leadership. I sat in my office and I had invitation from the members of the Nigerian Bar Association, both from the learned sick and the general members of the bar, that the only person who could intervene at this period is you. And to the glory of God, intervened by being given the position of the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, that all outstanding issues that generated crisis at that time was settled during my period. I also concluded or completed the ongoing secretariat building of Nigerian Bar Association. To the glory of God, it was commissioned by His Excellency, the Governor of Kwara State, Alhaji Abdul Fattah Ahmed, on March this year. Having done well at the branch, the national headquarters of Nigerian Bar Association deemed it fit, when we had similar challenges at the Ikeja branch of Nigerian Bar Association, Lagos State, to put up a 3-member panel to resolve the crisis, lingering crisis at the Ikeja branch of Nigerian Bar Association. Based on my performance at the branch level here in Ilorin, I was a member of the 3-member caretaker committee, and to the glory of God, we resolved the issues.
Time up. Your time's up. Thank you very much for that. Now we would like to move on to the candidate aspirant from the governorship aspirant from the Abundant Nigerian Renewal Party as well. That's the ANRP, Dr. Abdul. The same question. Why do you want to be governor? Is that working? Right. Can someone take a look at the microphone really quickly, please? All right. All right. Timekeeper, please reset. We've reset the time. The time starts now.
Okay, good morning, Quarks. In the name of God, the merciful, the beneficent. Why do I want to be governor of Kwara State? To me, I'm rising up to the challenge of our time. When I look at the field of people that have shown their hands that they want to be governor of our state, with all due respect, and I have two of them here that I have utmost respect for, I feel like the ideas on display is not adequate for the time that we're living. And that's the reason for this candidacy. And Kwarans should please note those who have repeatedly stood up to explain the things they want to do if they sit on the chair of the governor. Apparently, two people are not here today. And they've not been here several times that people of Kwara have called them. I think it is important that if you want to lead the people, you have to have the graciousness of heart to stand up and face them and explain yourself to them. To me, the task of the next governor of Kwara State is that of a leader manager. What do I mean by that? You need a leader and you also need a manager, somebody that will strike a balance between the two. In my almost 20 years of work experience, I've had the privilege to have worked as a senior manager, and I've also worked in government. And I bring these two experiences to the office of the governor of Kwara State. The seriousness that it needs, the task that we have at hand. The issues that all of us faces today is, how are you going to eat nutritious meals 3 times a day? How will you have the health care that you need? How will you have shelter over your head? How would you have clothing on your backs?
All right, your time is up. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
In the name of Almighty God, I bring to Kwara Coalition of Business and Professional Associations special greetings from Labour Party of Nigeria. And I want to register my profound appreciation for the invitation extended to us by this great association, ably chaired by my very good friend and brother, Dr. Ahmed Raji. Even though it's part of my friendship, he never let me know what the questions are. He remains very firm on that. But I'm quite impressed that WACOBPA has come a long way, 17 athletes established in 2011. Why am I contesting? I'm contesting just precisely because of the objective of WACOBPA, to promote socio-economic prosperity of our great state. Kwara State was formed in 1967. I was completely shocked. It's about 51 years old now, and it's used to be one of the leading states in Nigeria. Today we are number 28 in the League of States in terms of gross domestic product. I'm a product of Kwara. I'm a proud son of Kwara. I went to public primary secondary school. I've been to university. I've second-class upper in economics. I've master's degree in labor economics. I'm the vice president of Global Industrial Union, made up of 50 million workers worldwide. I've signed collective agreements to have member. I discovered that I've tried to uplift the living standard of people worldwide. It's time for me to do similar things for my great state.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We do appreciate the fact that we might get emotional based on the responses, but please, every time you applaud, you buy into some of their time. Let's keep the applause very, very minimal. All right, he still had time, but he wrapped up.
Can I recommend on the last no, because
you wrapped up. No, you wrapped up. You said, well, that's why I want to be governor.
No, let me wrap up.
So you wrapped up. The rules are the rules, please.
Okay,
please.
I'll come back.
You wrapped up. That's why I stopped you. You said that's why I want to be governor. Please. Again, let's note that you don't have to use all of the time you have. You don't have to use all of it, just in case. You see what I said? Please, let's keep the applause down, please. All right. The questions are organized in no particular order. We have questions ranging from the educational sector to infrastructure, and you did see us get this envelope. So the first question we have here goes to the sector of tourism. And we'll start off this round again with the candidate for the ADC, Barrister Issa Mansoha. You have 3 minutes for this particular question. 3 minutes. The rebuttals, others have a minute to respond to this. Your first question, where you have 3 minutes. What are your plans for the development of the tourism potentials of Kwara State? What are your plans for the development of the tourism potentials of Kwara State? Your time starts now.
There's no doubt worldwide, tourism has become a revenue-generating venture across the world. And my administration will focus on rural areas. We have a museum that has been abandoned for quite some time. So my administration will concentrate on reviving the museums so as to generate revenue for the state. I'm aware of other tourism potentials in the state that could generate 2 billion naira within 4 years. I keep that on my mind. Places like Barotain, I'm sure aware of tourism potential in Barotain that could generate as much as 2 billion naira. It's been abandoned, perhaps because of lack of awareness by previous governments in the state. I also intend to reactivate the moribund Kwara hotels where this event is held. Kwara hotels used to be the center of activities in those days in Kwara State. I don't know what has happened now on that. When we had our NEDG meeting in March this year, we hosted all the lawyers in Nigeria here in Kwara State when I was the chairman of Nigerian Bar Association. We tried to lodge prominent members of the bar in Kwara hotels and they were disappointed that what has happened to this hotel that has gone down. And so I intend to revive the Kwara hotels. You cannot talk of tourism without talking of infrastructure. We intend to look at road infrastructure. Certainly when you attract tourists, you must have good facilities on ground. So these are areas we intend to look at in order to reactivate tourism potentials of Kwara State. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for your time. Brief, straight to the point. He's spoken about policies, facilities. Well, now, the next question, the rebuttal, of course, from the candidate from the ANRP. Do you agree with most of the things he said, or do you have your plans as well concerning, the tourism potential? What are your plans for the development of the tourism potentials of Kwara State? Your time starts now. A minute. All right, I think there's something wrong with the mic, please, is it? Okay, I think you put it up. Is it? All right, I don't think it's working. Please timekeeper, take notes, please. We encourage all candidates, please just keep them on. Thank you very much. All right, your time starts. Thank you now.
The issue of tourism, just like any other department of our state, is one of negligence. So I agree with Alaji on some of the strategies that he has laid out. But more importantly, if you look at every single local government that we have, there is tourism potential. Right here in Ilorin, all the way to the southern part of our state, Iroquois, or anyone would remember that we have Ijakadi, Loro Ofa. It's a festival that the Ofa people are bringing back more into prominence. What we need to do in areas like that is the government needs to lead. And then you have in Barutain the Ghani Festival. In Shao, you have the marriage rights. So what I would do under my leadership is, like everything else that I want to do, to lead on that front. To make sure that the tourism department is empowered to put technocrats in charge of these departments. What you've had up to now is you keep putting politicians, with all due respect, everyone has a role in the society. So you need people that have the passion for the work, you put them there.
Factor we bring in it. The tourism sector, the way it functioned in the 80s, will it still work the same way in this time and climate?
Well, I'm highly committed to the revival of tourism in our great state. For obvious reasons, I've done the study. We can employ close to 500,000 direct and indirect jobs in tourism sector. If we make sure our tourist destinations are working properly. And I will be the #1 tourist myself. You have to lead by example. As a governor, I must make sure I attend Ghani Festival, I must be at Morimi Festival, I must also bring all sorts of people that will come over to the group. But to do tourism, you must also create proper infrastructural facilities. You have to open up the roads, you have to ensure security of our people. Then above all, you must uplift our people from poverty. They must have the purchasing power to be able to go around, to appreciate what they have in their community. When you see tourist centers in South Africa, in Kenya, these are citizens of the world who come from Europe, America, they could be able to, patronize as to what's going on. Then the last point, just this year, on the eve of the new year, if you watch television, you will see the Carnival Festival in Calabar, Lagos. The same thing, Governor Ambode brought all the, musicians, which promotes tourism in Lagos, on the eve of the new year. Kwara was like a cemetery. I will be a governor that is on duty to be able to, activate all our tourist centers, as the case may be. And this is not skyrocket. This is what we can do, and we must definitely do it in the light of the need to create jobs for our youths who are out of employment. So I assure you, definitely will create conditions to bring ACN tourist attraction back. Gardening in fact, virtually all the state local government have tourist attractions. But we can't leave it to private sector alone. The chairman, I listen to you, that private sector is the engine of growth, but that engine can only be oiled by the government. Community is only one doing the South Festival, government must partner with them, be there, different private sector for one. Thank you.
Your time and round. Thank you very much for that. Well, it will make Kwara State the hub and the toast of Africa. The next question will be asked by my colleague here.
Thank you. The next question is on infrastructure. And we are starting as usual with ABC. NRP, okay. Infrastructure is a challenge. It's connected to everything. In practical terms, including funding. What are your plans for Kwara State? You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, moderator. So we're here today in front of the Kwara Coalition of Business. Having the right infrastructure is important for businesses to grow. So on that note, I agree, I've said it before, I agree with Fatah Ahmed's infrastructure financing. Anyone that stands on this stage and tell you that they have enough money to provide the infrastructure that Kwara needs to meet up in the 21st century, I'm sorry, that individual is not telling you the whole story. We are not going to have the money to provide the dams, the bridges, the roads that we need as a government. But what we should do is to continue the infrastructure financing that he has laid out. I agree with it. The things that I would do differently is there's a lot of opacity when it comes to the finances of Kwara State government, including this infrastructure financing initiative, as laudable as it is. So what I would do is remove the corruption, make it transparent, invite more private sector players. Because when the last time they did a needs assessment of what we need, that was several years ago, about 5 years ago, it's about 225 billion naira. 5 years ago, 225 billion naira, the worth of that money now is probably going to be close to $1 trillion. Because since the naira is not gaining in value, it continues to depreciate. So that means that by the time, if Allah gives me this position in May, I'll be looking at an infrastructure deficit of about $1 trillion. In order to do that, I'm willing to partner with the private sector to raise the necessary funding and then do another needs assessment to make sure that priority areas are done. So yes, I will be committed to making sure that we have the infrastructure that we need. This is not going to be, all of it is not going to be doable in a 4-year term. One of the things that I promise you, Kwara, is I'm going to lay everything out as a plan and explain how we'll get there, and I will not lie to you. So in the 4-year term, my biggest priority will be making sure that we have the dams, the bridges, and the A priority roads. And what do I mean by A priority roads? When I look around Kwara State, I was okay. We are going to do a sort of a mapping to make sure that our priority roads are fixed and open up some other roads to make sure that the produce from the hinterland is getting into the urban areas. Now, the financing again, to go back to the financing, I will have to make sure that I'm transparent enough to Kwarans and to the investors on how, one, raising the money, second, I will pay it back. All of these can be done if we prioritize our objectives and making sure that we're telling Kwarans exactly how their money will be spent. So again, my own strategy to finance our infrastructure, the things that we need, is primarily to bring government in and to bring the private sector in to raise the funds that are necessary to get it done.
All right, well, thank you very much. You've spoken about continuity, removing corruption.
Yes,
You'll have a minute.
let me go ahead. I think the infrastructure deal with the issue of road, light, water. These are means to drive development agenda. But first, we must have development agenda. Our party has a 5-point agenda which deals with people, prosperity, popular participation, peace, among others. God willing, once I become a governor, as I will be May 29, inshallah, we are going to launch Development Agenda 2030, which is a 10-year agenda to drive development. And to do so, you must have basic infrastructure to be in place. There must be roads that lead to factories, that lead to school. Recently, I'm also a member of the National Institute. Recently, senior executive course 38 came to Kwara, and they concluded that this is one of the states that have gross infrastructural deficit. God willing, we'll be able to make sure we put this in place, because that's the basis of their development. Don't forget, Kwara State built this hotel that we're using today. Kwara. Today, we cannot even maintain it. Not only that, those investors are building private hotels for themselves. It's not acceptable.
Thank you very much, sir. You speak about infrastructure with 30 seconds, please. 30 seconds. Power actually happens to be a major challenge to businesses in this state. You speak about infrastructure amongst a couple of things. How do you intend to face this challenge of erratic power supply that has contributed to the death of companies in Kwara State?
If we have to drive development, we must industrialize our state. Kwara State used to be the home of industries in those days, working biscuits, Tata Line and co. This was possible because there was electrification, there was electricity. That had industrialization with the electricity. So we will make sure, as much as possible, to have multiple sources of energy. Today, energy is one of the most available things. Solar, we can really do solar panel. We're already doing for the streets, but if we do it for the streets, why not for industries? It's very well possible. Not only that, there have been some efforts to step down some power in Goma and Co, but we need to do more than that. There's still terrible erratic power supply. In fact, the cost of business is so high in this country because most of the industrialists use generators, which in turn affect their cost of power.
Thank you very much.
So I assure you, we partner with generating electric generating.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Well, let's go back to the ADC, the candidate for the African Democratic Party. You've heard of
infrastructure and electricity has dominated campaign promises of politicians since independence till date. But I think with a kind of moral integrity, funding is not our problem, but I think it is the focus, it is the planning and implementation that is our problem. And perhaps when we partner with foreign investors, we'll be able to generate enough power to power industries in Kwara State. So I think it is a problem of planning and implementation that has left the issue of infrastructure and electricity to politicians, campaign promises over the years. So we'll merely bring in the experts to advise us on ways of perhaps putting a hand to these incessant power problems in the country, in Kwara State. Thank you.
Okay, before we go to the next,
I would like to
question. Yes, I'm coming to you actually. There are, and from the Aremutu to be ready for this. There are two issues connected to infrastructure that we need to clarify. One is about equity and fairness. When you plan for infrastructure, there are the political, the social dimension to it in terms of distribution across the state. That is also a challenge, and we need to address it. How do you intend to address those dimensions to development?
Briefly on the issue of power. Again, that's one of the reasons why Kwarans, you need to elect someone that have an understanding of how modern economies run. Throughout Nigeria, we have issue with power, not enough, 7,000 megawatts is not even enough for the state of Lagos to have uninterrupted power. So what's the new thinking that I'll bring? One, the issue of legislation. As governor, I will fight to make sure that we can generate our own power, transmit and distribute. It's not undoable. It's something that we can do, and it's actually the future. Without that, 20 years from now, we'll still be here talking about issue of we don't have enough power. So, and that is the reason why I'm embracing microgrids wholesale. So here in Kwara, we have our own microgrid. The macrogrid is the national one. So we have a microgrid whereby we will get the necessary funding to generate our own power. Why are we not using Asadam and Agbadam and a lot of the dams across the street to power our businesses, even before the solar and the other ones? So the issue of power, again, is something that you have to elect somebody that have an understanding of how to drive this growth.
What time up?
You asked the question.
Your time's up.
I mean, because I have to issue a report previously that you didn't give me the chance to do that.
All right, 30 seconds.
Okay.
30 seconds.
Thank you. The gentleman, Dr. Oba, he asked a question about when you talk about infrastructure, how do you prioritize? I'm the only candidate that said, I looked around Kwara. All of us will have developmental challenges, but Kwara North has even greater developmental challenge. And I propose the creation of the Kwara North Regional Development Authority to bring government money and ask Kwara Northerners also to invest and get somebody from Kwara North to chair the commission. That is how you drive growth. That way, as we do equity.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your time is up. The candidate for the Labour Party, I see you also want to talk about this.
Yes,
so 30 seconds.
You talk of distribution of infrastructural facilities, but maybe we need to generate first those facilities before we distribute them. I was also shocked when I went to Barutin. I never believed this, that this local government, is part of Kwara State. I was shocked. I know that our roads are generally bad, including roads in Ilorin Metropolis, the road between here and Ofa. But when you travel to Elisha Barba, you go to Barutin, you'll be shocked. I think the motto of our party is equal opportunities for all and social justice. We make sure there's equal distribution of amenities and facilities. Because once you are committed to development agenda, which is all inclusive for the state, you can't discriminate between one area and the other. So what I'm saying here is that we make sure all the parts of the state are developed simultaneously. And we promise that each local government must have a factory. And before you can have a factory, you must be able to have facilities that make it possible. Roads, water, and of course electricity.
Your time's up.
Each local government must have one factory. God willing. 4 years in the United States.
Your time's up.
Maybe we take this one as the last on infrastructure. If we have them in place and they are well distributed, then we have a peculiar challenge in Kwara State, which is flooding. Each year, flooding. Each year, we experience flooding at the northern part of the state. As governor, we start with Alaji Mandoma. Yes, just as we repeat at 30 seconds, what are you going to do?
On even distribution of infrastructure, we are going to adopt an integrated approach. And perhaps we need a homegrown method or local method. We are going to have state direct labor agency. Infrastructure is very expensive. And like he has said on the case of Kwara North, we'll make sure that each local government has working facilities like a grader, bulldozer, and tippers to grade rural roads. So I'll be able to link. Flooding is a national issue, and I think the federal government is trying to constitute IPAC to address issues of flooding. So I think we must distinguish between concurrent and exclusive legislative list. It's not within the state to address the issues of flood. It's within the purview of the federal government.
So the state has no role.
We have a role.
And so exactly that's the point.
What is the role? After time.
I think I should also to bridge the rules now, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
I think I also, as a lawyer, I also bridge the rules now. Give me 1 minute.
No, please. Well, again, we try as much as possible to be considerate. Let's move on to the candidate for the ANRP. Talking about the incessant flooding. 30 seconds. Please go.
Again, I go back to the issue of leadership. Here in Kwara, there's hardly any plan going on. So what we need to do is, when we get into the office of governor, we'll sit down and do the necessary planning that we need to do. So we know that we have flooding, right? So we look at the map of Kwara, where are we having these issues? Town planning authority, the relevant agencies will sit down. We have a clear idea of the challenges, and then we'll come up with a solution. Thank God in Nigeria we have what is called ecological funding. The issue, the money in ecological funding, I know for a fact that it's being siphoned.
Yes,
so when you have ecological funding and you have the proper planning, you can solve the issue of flood. It's not rocket science.
Time's up, time's up. Again, the time allotted, we believe you are set to lead a people who might be facing a crisis anytime soon. Crises do not announce themselves. We do not have this weird situations telling you, okay, it's going to happen, and you have to be swift with it. 30 seconds, still on the Labour Party. Flooded.
Well, I think water is a blessing from Almighty God. So water is not inherently bad. In fact, my very good favorite musician, the late fella, had a record. Water has no enemy. So water is a blessing for us. But it's the way we arrange and plan our society. And I agree with Dr. Ajia that we need to put proper drainage in place. We have to make sure that there's channelization to make sure water goes to appropriate places. And we manage water in the way that we have water to drink, water to fuel agriculture. So it's about your planning. Water itself is not the one that disrupts.
Thank you very much.
Planning to channel water from.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's from the Labour Party. A lot of you have spoken about, we've been talking about infrastructure. You've spoken about, delving into getting from the ecological fund, sitting down with the town planning organization. I hope the audience, they're listening in and they can pick up what they want to pick up. Again, let's move away from infrastructure. Let's go to security. Again, these questions are not arranged in any particular order. Let's talk about security. Kwara State has been in the news over the past 1 year. Some would say in some aspects for the wrong reasons. That's talking about the offer robbery, the violent political clashes in recent times. And this round will kick off with a candidate from the Labour Party. In view of the recent upsurge in criminal activities in the state, what are your plans to tackle these challenges? You have 3 minutes.
Interestingly, I've mentioned the 5-point agenda that we have. We call it 5 Ps. People, prosperity, popular participation, partnership, and peace. Peace is very, very critical because there cannot be anything, no development without peace. And I use this forum to pray that Almighty God restore peace in some part of the country that we're having more deadly, security challenges. Of course, I absolutely agree with you, and I'm alarmed that the state of harmony, that is our motto, has become a state of disharmony, in which you have daylight robbery, in the case of offer. But you also know that there used to be offer 1, 2, 3, part 1 and 3, and robbery. Also, Mara, it happened before. In fact, I'm talking to you, I also find out that most of the banks have not resumed work. So, is it when the banks are working, we are poor anyway? Is it when they are not doing transactions to finance trade that are going out of poverty? So, security is fundamental. What will I do? Yes. It's important. We are going to, as the chief security officer of the state, I'm #1 chief security officer. We partner with, equip them, then get our boys to be gainfully employed. We will not be like some people in power who empower children with jeep. They go around to engage in lots of criminal activities. We give them the tools to work in the factories. We reopen the factories in a way that will return Kwara to good old days, in which it used to be home of peace, as the case may be. And of course, extremely important are traditional rulers. We have to engage them. They are wonderful people who should be empowered to perform their role because they know the community very well. They know it's not even all the communities that are distressed. Those communities that are peaceful, we should learn from the best practices. And we make sure the Council of State, the Security Council work very well with our traditional rulers to make this possible. But the key to real sustainable peace is to create sustainable jobs for our youth, for them to be engaged possibly. And this will happen in some states in which we don't have the kind of security challenges that we have. But leadership is critical. And as a chief security officer, we ensure we partner with police, civil defense organizations, vigilante groups, and of course traditional rulers. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much for that.
They have 5 seconds.
Please start.
We can
Again, you don't have to use all of it.
I assure you that under my leadership as the governor of Kwara State, Kwara will return back to true state of harmony.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Again, you don't have to use all of the time that you have. Let's not put you under any pressure, please. Okay, still talking about the security situation, he said a couple of things. He said that he will assume the role as a chief security officer. He will work with the police, traditional rulers, led from communities that have peace, prevalent amongst them. Engage a security council. Create jobs. I want to move on for the rebuttal. Let's start off with the candidates from the African Democratic Party. He's cited a couple of things. Do you think this is the way to go, or do you have more or other way?
In addition to the way to go, 1 minute. I think I have statistics from the Nigerian Security Defense Corps. Sometimes last month, December, that over 115 criminals were arrested in Kwara State. And it's said by that statistics, Kwara State has the highest criminal record in Nigeria. Just from Nigerian security, NSDC alone. So, security is contained in Section 14, subsection 2C of 1999 Constitution. It is divided into two. You have security services and security personnel. The security personnel are those who give security, the police, the SSS, the civil defense. Then the security services is good governance, the welfare of the citizens. When youth are not gainfully employed, the next thing is criminality. Then you must also, as government, remove incentives for criminality in the country. It should make something quite unattractive to the youth. The situation where our youth are involved in some sort of so once you make these things unattractive to our youth, the security of the economy of the state will be guaranteed.
Thank you very much, sir.
The primary emphasis will be on good governance.
That's,
as the first item on security.
Thank you.
Please, sorry. Let me take this one, that last one, please. Banks in Omora and Dofa, they're going to provide armored vehicles for exit towns.
Your time is up. Timekeeper, we know this is the most most important job, and I do not envy our timekeeper at this point in time. Aja, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to the candidate from the ANROP. You've listened to the two gentlemen. One of the things he said is remove incentives for crime. And I would like you to expatiate on that, even talking about the security situation in view of the surge in criminal activities, on plans to tackle these challenges. He says, remove incentives. And you've heard a couple of other things. Do you agree with this, or do you think there's a better way or another way? 1 minute, please.
So I do agree that we need to provide jobs in order to reduce the incidence of crime. But one of the things that I did, myself and my team, is that in running for governor, we went around the state to see what are the things, the challenges that faces us as citizens of Kwara State. And we wrote a comprehensive document that tried to at least solve that problem when we get there. So one of the things we discovered is, in speaking to the DPOs around the state, that the government doesn't interface with them. The interface that happens doesn't go beyond the governor and the commissioner of police and the director of DSS. It doesn't trickle down. So what we need to do is we need to create an avenue, which I call the Integrated Public Safety Commission, where the state government and all the security services will be meeting regularly on the things that they need. And that is how the issue of the armored tank comes in. If you have a standing commission that maybe every Monday they meet up,
Thank you very much.
you will know that you need an armored tank. Instead of Kwara right now, we don't have an armored tank.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Your time is up. We know that look on your face. Thank you very much. There's so much, but time's the only thing we don't have. Let's move on to the next question, please.
Okay, maybe before we move to the next main question, in relation to security, please, the three of you, our state is located in a position that makes it attractive to people to come and settle here, and that has brought some kind of challenge to security. Okay, let's start with Labour Party. 30 seconds. How do we handle that?
Well, I'm not sure whether you are not living in the past.
Okay.
Because the assumption that our state is so attractive for people to stay, that was in the past, in the 70s, 80s. Today, Osun State is far more attractive than the state. Public schools work very well. you are very good, relatively speaking, to us. I think we should be factual with ourselves. But two incentives are fueling insecurity. Drug abuse among the youth, very, very dangerous one. And that's why in our campaign, we even make sure we promote knowledge for the danger of drug abuse. Then secondly, unemployment. That's very, very critical. And it's a recurring issue. Idle hands are devil's
30 seconds. Thank you very much. Now the next candidate. Again, let's be very clear about this. Kwara State is strategically positioned. You have it's this drive-through to the north and to the west. You've had the insurgency situation in the northeastern part of Nigeria. So you don't want to move too far down the southwest. Kwara State is home to several tribes. You have the Hausa, the Fulani, the Yoruba. And so an outsider coming from that place might find it suitable to call this place home. Now, based on that concept, on that exact concept, let's talk about this question exactly. The strategic nature of the town, the assumptions that perhaps you have too many new people, the population has grown over the past 10 years, security.
Okay, so I disagree respectfully with my older brother here. We continue to attract people in Kwara State regardless of the challenges that we face. So if the proper census is taken tomorrow, I'm sure that we'll have more population than Osun State, regardless of the challenges that we face. So that's a good thing. Now, even if you have a prosperous society and everybody is following the rules, you still have criminal elements. And that is why I continue to emphasize on the need for a leader manager. That you need to pick somebody that will go and work for you. What would I do different? Again, I go back to the safety commission that I would put in place. If I put the safety commission in place, please hold on 1 second. 30 seconds, you hardly can make any point. But the point of the matter is that if you really want somebody that will work for you, you want somebody that have an understanding of what needs to happen. Having a safety commission would ensure that
Thank you very much.
as the crimes are surfacing, we tackle this from the source.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. 30 seconds, what we have. You might just want to go straight to the point. Whether you disagree with your opponents or not, might just buy into your time. Let's go through to Mr. Issa Mansour. You've dealt with a lot of crime. You've heard what the two gentlemen have said. Let's talk about the influx of people, how that has affected security in Kwara State and your plans.
When you have rules without penalty, it's difficult to control to enforce the rules. Well, I think I insist to still have locational advantage as far as Kwara State is concerned, and it remains very, very attractive to people from the north, the west, and the south. What we need to do, like I said earlier, is to assist the security agencies with working equipment. And it's just armored personnel career. Station 1 at Jeba, Station 1 at Omaran, of this exit point. And perhaps we can have air release.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's interesting. He sees it as an opportunity instead of a challenge. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. We move on. Again, in no particular order. Take this two together. All right. Now let's move on to agriculture. Agriculture. What are your plans for the development of agriculture in Kwara State? What are your plans for the development of agriculture in Kwara State?
Agriculture remains the mainstay of our economy. We will adopt integrated approach. You take agriculture with rural areas because there's strong interrelationship between agriculture and rural development. So you have to take agriculture together with rural areas. And this is going to be reduced to some extent rural-urban migration. There is this traditional isolation of rural areas by previous governments in the country. So we are going to adopt integrated approach. Agriculture is the main work. I was in agriculture for over 30 years before I moved to rural areas. So I know our problems as far as rural areas are concerned. I was in farming for 30 good years. So we are going to adopt integrated approach, give them some modern equipment. Go to India. There's this small equipment you can use as harvesters. Small tractors you can use to cross the road. So we'll be able to go into some great mechanized farming. We also, within Farmers Association, we have the Farmers Association to tackle holistically the problem of agricultural development within Kwara State. And once you are able to address this issue of agriculture, I assure you, the issue of rural-urban migration will reduce, because the main work of rural areas is agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that response. He says he's been a farmer. He's been a farmer, so he knows the ropes. Oh, I candidate from the ANRP. You do not necessarily have to be a farmer to answer this. You have 1 minute. Kwara State is known for rice production, and yes, sometimes it's hardly available and affordable. Still talking about agriculture, and let me frame it this way. How do you intend to encourage mass production of products? He's spoken about the partnership with the rural communities and integrated approach he calls it. How do you plan to encourage, mass productions in this rural settings to encourage, agriculture, all-round farming, all year round?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, if you look at the logo of the Abundant Nigerian Renewal Party, it's intentional. We have the plans and then we have the computer. So in order to drive growth, both at the state level and at the national level, we believe that the use of technology and agriculture will be pivotal towards our growth. So in terms of Kwara State, one of the cardinal 6 points that I raised was that I'm going to invest heavily in agriculture, because I started my opening statement talking about food. Those are, the basic things are the things that are of the major headaches for us in Nigeria right now. So before we start tackling the big issues, we need to talk about food. So agriculture, we are going to involve the use of technology in terms of geographic survey to see our arable lands and make sure that myself as the governor, I'm leading in that effort, that we are able to cultivate as much as possible all of our arable lands. How do we do that throughout the year? It's cliche to talk about irrigation. There are existing irrigation routes right now to Puladia and the rest of them. But also, in embracing biotech, there's this new tech. It's not really new.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the candidate for the Labour Party. He's spoken about technology, introducing technology as an enticement.
Well, let me start from the issue of rice production, which you talked about. I think food issue is very, very critical. It's about food security. God willing, our party has said no Kwara should go to bed without food. We eradicate hunger. But to do so, there must be food production. Now, the panelists, I hope you are listening to me. The panelists, I hope you are listening. No, I think it's better you listen. You raised the issue of rice production. There was once a Kwara State that used to produce rice, process, and even export rice. We used to have Igbo rice. It's a scandal today that new states created after us, like Kebbi and Lagos, they now partner together on the issue of rice production. There's anchor rice production, in which CBN finances. I think what we need to do is to give support to our small farmers. This government that has been in power 16 years spent billions of naira to support few Zimbabwean farmers, Songa Farm, and for modern agriculture. But charity should start with your own people. If you can give money to foreign farmers, few farmers, why not thousands of your own farmers?
Thank you very much.
Loan for them, support,
Thank you very much.
the same way you give to others.
Thank
and
you.
without one food production,
Thank you.
back to Nigeria.
Charity begins the home. Again, please, the handshakes. We know we're emotional about some of these topics, but please, let's move on and run.
With ANRP, your main question is on education. What exactly do you see as the main challenge of education in Kwara State? And particularly at the secondary school level, because the state controls the secondary education, no doubt about that. We have witnessed serious dilapidation of infrastructure at the secondary school level. What the things we are going to do to address these numerous challenges we have in education in Kwara State?
3 minutes, sir.
So I've said repeatedly that when people tell you things that they will do, you ask them to show you what their priorities are. In the budget proposal that I made on December 1, 2018, I laid out a proposal that states that if elected as governor of Kwara State, I will allocate 35% to education. I think that speaks in and of itself where my priorities are, and that's double the expenditure right now. In talking about secondary education in Kwara State, just like the primary, the infrastructure is dilapidated, and then you have issues of poor funding, and you also have people within the sector that they were hiring them based on politics. So it's kind of like a multifaceted approach. And when I advocated for a 35% funding for education, these are the things that I'm talking about, because we're going to need a lot of money to get it done. One, we'll fix our schools on a rolling basis. What do I mean by that? When you have hundreds of schools across the state, it will be disingenuous to say, oh, when I come in a 4-year term, everything will be fixed. That's a lie. But with a 35% budget, you can at least start picking from each local government, fixing some model schools. Because I made a promise, I said I'll put my own children there. You best believe that I will not put my children in the school that's dilapidated. That it will be fixed. So that is one. Second, I intend to train and retrain the teachers that we have. And I have information about people that are supposed to be teachers, but they don't have any business teaching anyone. So we're not going into government with a vengeance, but we'll go into government with a clear head. So meaning that as we stood in the training programs, if somebody is not being, if you are assigned social studies, for instance, and you cannot even teach that, you cannot teach any class, then you're not supposed to be in that class. Let's find you another job. So that would also mean that I would hire more teachers to make sure that we have what we need. My approach is look at the infrastructure, look at the personnel, and then I'm introducing a chancellor's office. So I would be hiring somebody within the education sector that knows what she's doing. That's run a school, that I've seen the school that she's run. She's done very well. She will be the chancellor of public secondary education in Kwara State. And what she will do is she will complement the commissioner. So that way the commissioner can have a broad view of the education, and the chancellor, working with the inspectorate, they can actually make sure that we have top standards so that public officials can put their kids in school as well. Now don't forget, if we talk about salary, I do not think any government in Nigeria can pay enough salary. But when you fix public schools, that way you don't have to pay out of pocket for schools. That's money in your pocket. That's one of the rules. So all of these are linked together. That's the approach that I
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your time. Some of the things I picked up, you did say 45% budgetary. 35? All right. 35% for the budgetary allocation for education. That's the plan. Address issues of poor funding. Talking about the brain drain, he did talk about the quality of teachers we have. But you did say you would hire more teachers. It would be interesting to find out about the ones who oppose lots of problems. I want to go on the rebuttal session to the African Democratic Party candidate. Let's talk about the teachers. It all starts and it ends with the quality of teachers. Let's talk about the significance of this and your plans, in the education sector towards upgrading it.
I agree with you on the quality of teachers, and I think we need more teachers on these basic subjects, English, language, and mathematics. I'm aware there are some schools that without English and mathematics teachers up to today in Kwara State. But I'm having coming from rural areas. So you find somebody who read geography taking English language and somebody who read physics taking mathematics. So these are some of the issues that need to be addressed for you to give quality education to the citizens of Kwara State. Without qualitative teachers, you cannot have qualitative education. They are interrelated. Then you also emphasize scientific and technical education. Not all of us are perhaps lucky to go to universities. So we must give technical and scientific education to those who may not be able to choose to go to the university. So we'll bring back technical colleges across the 3 senatorial zones of Kwara State.
Well, thank you very much. Saved by the bell, right on time. Now let's move on to the candidate of the Labour Party, who has a smile. Well, nobody wants to fire anybody. And the options have been to retrain, to train, or to lay off. If there's something our candidates agree on, they agree that, well, there is a problem. So what do we do about it? Do we retrain?
You will be surprised that we even need to recruit more teachers.
What do we do with
and
this?
train the existing one properly. Your question on education is very fundamental because it raises the importance of Kwara. are not collecting money directly from federal, it paid, and public school became so important such that parents were withdrawing their children from private school to public school. We will do get it done, inshallah. SUPEP must work. It should not be a place to put for the school appointees in which you take money to finance indulgence of political leaders. I will make sure the Commissioner of Education makes it work.
Thank you, sir.
Student for
For the ENRP.
Just to add to what the comrade has said, since 2013 we have not accessed the funding in Kwara State. It's shameful. So the question just answered itself. Access the funding, remove career politicians from the Jubilee Commission. Have people that are passionate, that want to get the job done. And then even at that, you'll be surprised at the level of decay with the UBEC funding, with the state counterpart funding, and our ambitious program to go out even to ADB, the African Development Bank, to access funding, and perhaps even in Euro-America. I'm not trying to scare Kwara. The challenge is great, but we have the will to face it. The most important thing is to remove corruption and lead the efforts.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And now, Barrister Manzuma from the African Democratic Party.
Yeah, I agree with my colleagues. I think remove political factors in the appointment, board appointments of bring in professionals to manage board, so as to ensure that appropriate people. And I think the important thing is to ensure that there's moral integrity in the management of primary education board. So to say, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. At this point in time, we understand you've been standing for quite a while, and we understand. Thank you so much for standing in to answer this question. There are seats right behind you, so when you're not speaking, you might choose to sit, but you might please kind of also move the seat so that the audience can see them and they can look at the people. But you can sit certainly. 2 hours is a very long time. Let's move on to the health sector. That's the next question we've got. We're starting from the candidate from the Labour Party. All right. So please put it at the middle of the podium so that they can. This should be here. Hello, ma'am. Okay. All right. So let's have that there. Let's have this here so we can. Yes. Thank you very much. So let's talk about health. And this one's very simple. We kick off this round with the Labour Party candidate. And let's see how well you know what your people go through. What are the major health concerns that you wish to address in Kwara State? What are the major health concerns that you wish to address in Kwara State? You have 3 minutes for that.
Well, I think health is great, and Kwara State, we've already lost some millennial development goals, which say that our children will survive before the age of 5. Maternity mortality rate is still very high. Most women, they die quite during delivery because of lack of public health care properly. And the out of pocket that we are doing, have many relations, have pneumonia, they have headache, they have no money, or what we need to do is to have comprehensive health coverage for our people. Health insurance. Not the what they are doing it now, because it's not comprehensive, it's not total. So there must be health insurance. Then public hospitals must be brought back the way it used to be. I know of many of our people who have died in hospitals because they can't pay the fees. Secondly, the facilities are not there the way they should be. Today, Kwara State has 98 doctors. The WHO said there should be 1 doctor for 1,000 citizens or patients. Today, Kwara, the ratio is about 1,000 to 15,000 citizens. Nurses, the number of nurses are also not very few, just about 650, nurses that we have. I think it's important that we do mass recruitment of our nurses. We have many midwifery school of nurses. We should retain them. Well, after training them, that means that we must expand the public sector, expand the Ministry of Health, the hospitals, to recruit massively. And that's what many states have done, who have really made sure they improve on all the health indicators. Today, that is not the case in Kwara. So what I'm saying in summary is that we reinvent public hospitals the way it used to be. Some of us went to public dispensary hospitals, and we make sure that when those hospitals are done, people have access to them. We spent about 1.2 billion to build diagnosis center here. But how many of our people can pay the charges which are imposing on them? What is the benefit of the citizen? Every Kwara we make sure you have highly subsidized rates in any public hospital that we put in place for it to work. So I'm saying there will be health insurance coverage for all. It's extremely important, which means you pay some premium as a citizen, and then you have coverage for basic diseases that do not require comprehensive operations. And that's what it's been done in a number of states. Then we get more doctors to be recruited, we get more nurses, and the good then we have nurses very close people to me, on account of poor health, lack of public health facilities. For those of us who are privileged to take care of some of our relations, most citizens cannot do that. So what I'm saying here is that we bring back, again, good old days. I know of Kwara, of those days in which General Hospital is truly genuine hospitals. Once you get there, you get well, even before you are properly treated. Today, some of hospitals you get there, you want to say you have to rush to private hospital, and most people can hardly pay. So, in summary, I hope this answer your question, is that what we need to do is to bring comprehensive health care, and sustainable development will stay on that.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. And now let's go to the candidates of the ANRP for the report. It's given some interesting stats, some very interesting stats. It's spoken about mass recruitment of health practitioners, reinventing the public hospitals, subsidized health care. But then you have to work with the budget at the end of the day. These are fantastic plans, but then you have to think of who's going to be paid for what. Healthcare is very expensive, universally, and even developed nations do have their own challenges with this. And so let's talk about your plan. Do you agree with him in terms of the plans for the healthcare, massive recruitment, amongst a couple of other things? How do we pay for this?
I do agree with you on the substance of the things that SB has proposed, but I'll go further. Again, my priorities, my budget proposal, I say 35% for education, 20% for healthcare. That is not where I'm going in the long term, but I'm using education to drive it. So 20% budget allocation for health. To me, I'm looking at a problem, and I'm saying, okay, how do we solve this problem? In the health sector, you want to talk about the health infrastructure. Those are the physical things you can see, the hospitals, the clinics, and all that. But also you want to talk about the health professionals, which you mentioned. And then I go further and say, okay, let's have healthcare planning. So all of these things have to be tied together. My proposal is that within the 25 kilometer radius, we should have either a government-owned hospital or a private one. We'll do the mapping to see where the deficiency is, and we'll lead that gap. Then, we will also encourage our people to tap into the National Health Insurance Scheme. It's one of the best programs that the Nigerian government has.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Your time is up. I want to move on to the candidate from the African Democratic Party. Different perspectives have been given here. In the last speaker spoke about, the radius. Within every radius, you have a healthcare center. Some have spoken about an untapped element. That's talking about, the more conventional system, as we've seen in practice, even in civilized nations, where you have healthcare, not just what you think to be healthcare, but healthcare that the people can access. We're talking about the midwifery practice sometimes. There are still taboos. There are still taboos guiding some of these practices. Some people would not take their wives to the hospital because of certain cultural beliefs. Coupled with the health challenge, how do you intend working beyond these health challenges towards addressing the cultural challenges and providing accessible healthcare for the people you serve?
We address the issues of cultural and traditional challenges through aggressive public enlightenment and rural areas. But mind you, they also have their own traditional health attendants. So also trying their competent to make combination rules as far as health delivery is concerned. But we are going to bring on board, in those days we used to have this information, something by the State Ministry of certain diseases and where they should go. Those things have been stopped. I think we will revive those public enlightenments at the rural areas. So that we'll be able to access health facilities available to them. But like my father said, is that the Labour Party. I know particular local government that has just a doctor. It's quite unfortunate. I think we need to recruit more experts there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I noticed the Labour Party candidate. Now, in view of that particular question, you have a doctor, we have fewer doctors. You pointed out the statistics and some of these things. And so it means there has to be a collaboration of some sort without throwing away the old to accommodate the new, but educating them and ensuring the best practices. 30 seconds, sir.
In fact, I just try to get the actual statistics. Kwara State has 186 medical doctors, 69 pharmacists, and 736 nurses. These numbers for 3 million people. Even with the best of efforts, if there are serious challenges, they cannot cope. So the point I'm raising is that the mass recruitment, and it's not skyrocketing. Everybody in Kaduna, that's the first thing I saw. They have no mass recruitment of doctors. They have also made sure it retains the doctors. Today, I'm shocked that in spite of these miserable numbers, government cannot employ doctors. Those who have graduated, they have no work to do. The public, so in spite of this challenge that we have. So I'm saying here that it's important that we prevent public health, because that's the way to go. Anywhere in the world, Britain, America, they still have trips of private hospitals at home, but public hospitals where the real challenges, because that's where you have the critical mass of patients that are patronited.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, because we're doing a lot of interweaving, giving you a lot of interwoven questions. Okay, let's move to economy. Again, that one's very, very important. This is a COBPA event. After all, the businessmen and professionals are here. Developed and developing countries now use small-scale industrial estates to boost their local and international economy. How do you intend to implement a similar economic step in Kwara State? Developed and developing countries now use small-scale industrial estates to boost their local and international economy. How do you intend to implement a similar economic step in Kwara State? And this question goes to the ADC candidates from the African Democratic Party.
And we are going to replicate the success stories in India in Kwara State by giving grants to small and medium-scale industries, not loan, but grants. Because you cannot jumpstart the economy without partnering with the private sector. So my people in the private sector be assured of grants from the Governor of Action Democratic Congress, God's grace. So we're going to encourage, we're going to give grants, not loans. And for you to encourage small-scale industries, you must also look at the issue of taxation. We are going to give tax holidays for at least 3 years for these industries to be well-rooted before we start collecting tax. And if when we start taxation, it's going to be progressive and the method of collection will be elastic, so that the small-scale industries do not die as a result of taxation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, he's spoken about giving grants and not loans. I guess the businessmen should be happy and excited about that. Grants and not loans. You've spoken about tax holidays before you begin to collect tax. Let's go to the candidates for the ANRP. There's been different measures put in place to encourage, growth. What do you think about these measures put forward? Because at the end of the day, you do need money. The government needs to generate money. There's been a challenge at the top, talking about how much and how states have to now generate their own funds. And well, we have tax holidays amongst a couple of things. How exactly do you think this works and this helps? 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute. And your time starts now.
Thank you, moderator. In order to drive growth, we have to establish industries around the things that we're already using. And I am not trying to promise that government itself would create the industry, but government will look for the investors to partner with the local things that we're already doing.
I've spoken repeatedly about our Gary in OC. We can make that Gary to be #1 Gary around the country. So we need investors that will partner with to scale up the production. The same thing with even the AWU that's very popular, I guess across the length and breadth of our state. We can have industries around that. We can have industry around Anomoy in Nonfa. That is how you drive growth. It's not, you're not trying to do the very big things that is not within reach. You do the things that you can use to kickstart the economy. So that's what we call the 16 local government area industrial strategy in our manifesto, the ANRP manifesto. And then you also have the onboarding process.
I'm all set. Thank you very much, sir. We might have enough time to go back to that. Let's go to the candidate of the Labour Party. The two candidates have spoken about a couple of points. One spoke about tax holidays, tax breaks, amongst a couple of things. Well, some industries in Kwara State have closed shops, resulting in loss of jobs. How do you intend to resuscitate these industries and make Kwara more business friendly? Still in line with that.
Well, interestingly, let me also disclose to you, I'm from private sector. I've never worked in public institutions. So when I say private sector is the engine of growth, I mean what I'm saying so authoritatively. I've been in private sector, textile, in particular textile. So in spite of the depression, that is the way to go. We need to add value to our raw materials instead of exporting them. So we need to do beneficiation. There's one every November 20th is what they call African Industrialization Day, in which all states come together, discuss with people like you, the coalition of business and professionals. Kwara has never marked that because our governor here is never on duty when it comes to that. God willing, we'll bring back those factories. And how do you do so? You must provide his of business and patronize them. It's important. Today, possibly I'm the only one wearing made in Nigerian African print. We will bring back textile factory here. God willing, the way it used to be. And government must patronize them, make sure they produce school uniforms, for our children, and with that one, many garment factories can be necessary. So government spending, you can use budget to resuscitate this. All this your association will patronize it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your time's up. I think we need to go on to the next question. Which will be read out by my comrade. We're gradually coming to an end of the debate session.
We are moving to social services. Then, before we round up, we also talk about governance process. We want to, we are moving to the final one. Maybe penultimate final one. ANRP. How do you want to manage waste in the state? We already have a program going on already now since 2003. Since 2003, when that admission came up, we have the clean and green program. How do you want to manage waste disposal in our state, both for environmental reasons and for waste generation? Waste management. Do you have any potential in that regard?
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you. In 2003, during the administration of Dr. Polosaraki, he actually tried in that regard. But since 2011, it's been an eyesore. Here in the capital city, and as you go around the major metropolis, you find trash everywhere. So what we need to do is to, again, lead on that effort, make sure that we bring in the private sector to collect the trash, have dedicated dump sites where they will take it, have the timetable. I would like to see a situation where from 10 p.m. to 5:30 in the morning, our private sector partners should be working to get trash all out of our states, and then take it to the dump sites where you can also employ technology, employ people to now take the waste to wealth. There's another way, two things we can get from that. They can extract the things that are valuable to be recycled. They can also use some of the waste for manure, and they can also use the waste to generate power.
Thank you.
So, in a lot of these things, I continue to emphasize, you need a governor that will lead. Somebody that understands what needs to happen. Thank you.
So please, you should have some more time. 3 minutes, please. I'm sorry. Yes, that's the main question.
This is a very serious conversation, and I do feel like sometimes you're talking more than half the people that they want to listen to. This is very important. In a host of all these issues, it's all about leadership and the absence of it right now. I would like to use the rest of the minutes that I have to actually talk about the issues surrounding industrial strategy that I was talking about earlier when I had 1 minute. You want to create, when we talk about the 16 local government strategy, you want to also create a cohort. So when you're talking about raw, that axis, put in local government that are close by, create another cohort for them besides the small industries, whereby it will be jointly owned by the three. You put dedicated power there, again, to scale up whatever production is going there. And then in the onboarding process, one of the things that state governments in Nigeria have taken for granted is when companies come to your state, they don't have the partnership of the government to onboard them. The government is there, has a lot of resources. So I have every intention to make sure that we're helping companies to onboard in the onboarding process. And finally, the tax holiday. I proposed 1 year right now, but I continue to get educated even more by businessmen that I've met. They said 1 year might be too small. So I'm willing to go to 2 years, but we have to realize that we still need taxes to power our initiatives. So overall, Kwarans, you need someone that have an understanding, somebody that will continue to learn, to bring best practices to government. You need a worker, you need somebody that will work for you, not somebody that will come and think he's your guy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any rebuttal from your end on that you want to elaborate more on the issue of waste disposal and management in the state?
I think the issue of waste disposal and management is an issue of health. And I think it needs a holistic approach, but we will partner with the private sector for effective waste disposal and management. Thank you very much.
Complete.
Well, I heard you saying that there's already a program in place.
Yeah, the clean.
No, my question to you is that who are you talking for?
I'm not talking for anybody. I know.
What I'm saying is that those who are in power now, they are not here to answer those questions, to even talk about them. And I'm very sure you are not from PDP.
I'm making observations of what I know here.
But you see, I'm also helping you that if they have been here, we'll be able to lay claim to what they're already doing. But they are not here, those who are not here, and I want to tell the audience, those that you cannot see now, before they get to power, can you see them when they get to power? So if they have been here, we'll have engaged them. But I share the view of my very good brother, Ajay, that the waste management is a scandal now. You know, our cities, our towns are not well properly, take care in terms of waste disposal, and we can turn waste to wealth. That's what many states have done. Lagos State is a big thing. In fact, Ambode lost the ticket on account of his inability to manage waste. Because that's the job. So if somebody, a sitting governor, can lose, I think it should be funny that my fellow people in Kwara will return people who can manage waste here in Kwara State. So we are going to do partnerships with the private sector and for that.
Thank you very much, sir. Very much. Thank you very much. All right, I want to ask this. A lot of you have spoken, all three of you have spoken about the potential of recycling. Recycling works we've seen developed and advanced nations go through the major motions. Thank you very much. Please, we crave the indulgence of the audience once again. Please, we're wrapping up any time from now. Let's pay attention. This is very important. But there are techniques to recycling. Again, there is a place where you need appropriate town planning, where you need to collect the waste in the first instance, which is one of the challenges we have here. You need the infrastructure. You've spoken extensively about the infrastructure, but how do we collect the waste in the first place? Certain places are still immoderable. We're still talking about a town plan, which, of course, hasn't been revised in the we've spoken about this, we've spoken about this, we've discussed this. We have the population growth, the influx of more people into Kwara State. So we talk about recycling. I want to ask each of the candidates, all three of you, within 30 seconds, you haven't spoken about, collecting this waste in the first instance. You haven't spoken about incentives for having people bring their waste. How do you intend going about this?
That's so. To access some of these areas from Gama NTA junction to NTA substation at Gama, it took me almost 30 minutes the other time to attend an press interview. So I think we have serious problem of infrastructure, even within the Lorry Township. And you must first address this issue of accessibility to areas of collection. So we have to construct roads for easy accessibility of to these waste points. But here we are going to have major waste points in identified areas so that we will be able to collect this waste at some of these identified areas for easy disposal.
Anyway, we are running up, and I believe Dr. Abdulmomin Adia will elaborate on that. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Still on the issue of waste, am I right? Okay, I understand that we have challenges in terms of getting across to some of the hinterland to pick up the trash. That is true. But as governor, if the private sector partner knows that his money will get paid, they will go and pick up the trash. If it is making sure that the governor's word is worth something, that is one. Secondly, I also would like to lead on the eradication of plastics in Kwara State. We can lead the nation. Plastics is not a good use. The way we use the plastics right now to get bottled water and all these things is not environmentally friendly. So in the 4-year term, I will work towards making sure that Kwara State can replace plastics with biodegradable ones. You can still have the same plastics that you have right now, but it will be biodegradable through cassava. So what you do is that they can degrade it with the soil.
Thank you very much.
So those are all strategies to continue to enhance waste collection. And
I actually agree with my fellow panelists on the issue of recycling. But since the last time, I think this is the last opportunity, let me once again thank the coalition for creating this platform. And I want to call on the 2 other candidates who refused to come. That it's never late for them to change. BBC did debate, they didn't come. The National Labour Congress did debate, they didn't come. The Coalition of Business Association also did. I mean, it's completely wrong what they are doing. We must have respect for our people. I came all the way from Lagos this morning, in spite of my time. I came with overland this morning because of the respect I have for this association. Now, on the last note, the point I want to raise on the last note is that I want to tell them that democracy is about contest of ideas. You know, it should be free, democratic, peaceful the way we are doing it. Now, it's not about fighting the way they are doing so, violent, because they are not here to do the debate. And I'm saying so with such responsibility, there is also a threat to my life, and I want to disclose that today. Yesterday, I went for prayer, Fajr prayer in Abuja. It's important, I want to disclose that. And that was the Al-Nur Mosque, Ibrahim Babangida Way, and I saw 2 cars that were positioned, you know, apparently looking for me. The first car, Kwara number, the other one is National Assembly number, and it was tainted. I've already protested written the letter to IG, Special Police. What I'm saying is that this election is not about fighting, it's about these ideas, and they should never shoot that.
Thank you very much.
Once again, I thank you very much for.
Well, thank you, sir. We do hope, however, you.
No, I've reported that to this.
Very well. That's through the appropriate channel.
I'm saying thank you very much. It's about those issues. Thank you.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up right now. And before we do that, you have 30 seconds for your closing statement. We started off by asking, why do you want to be governor? What else do you want to tell your people? Why should they cast their vote for you? Your closing statement, you have just 30 seconds, please. And let's start off with the candidate from the ADC. 30 seconds.
Once again, I think the coalition, leadership is a spirit that must be manifested. You must have a purpose and passion for leadership. I want to challenge you, those of us who have followed your invitation are entitled to your votes. Money can make you rich. Power can make you strong. But it doesn't translate to good leadership. Please, vote for candidates that respect you. Candidates that have conscience. Candidates that have moral integrity. Candidates that have creativity, talent, But above all, check our records.
Above all, check the records. Thank you, the candidate for the ENRP 30 seconds. Your closing statement, please.
Thank you, Kwara Commission of Business. Thanks to the participants, people that came all the way here. I would like Kwara to give you the opportunity to lead our state because we have serious work to do. You need somebody that will not have a godfather or a godmother, that you people will be the godfather. You be the godmother. And you need somebody that have the experience of a middle age and the youthful figure of a young person. You need the worker. That's what you need. You don't need somebody that will come and be lording it over you. You need somebody that will give a task to a mandate.
Thank you.
And that will get the job done and will partner with you to get it done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
To come from this great state, which has produced me, from ground zero to what I am today. It's time for me to give back to my great state. And I'm willing and I'm committed as capable, competent candidate to offer Kwara a new days of life in this coming election. God willing. And I pray that Kwara will come back again.
Well, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a standing ovation. Thank you very much. A round of applause to the candidate. Candidate, and thank you. I was going to say that as well. A handshake, a hug. Cameraman, please capture this moment. Please, the program still continues. Ladies and gentlemen, you can have your seat. Please, you can sit, please. If you can, document, which will be done by the chairman of Kwara COBPA, who will be coming up shortly right now. Sir, over to you.
Your microphone is on. Please come back again. Thank you.
We are going to give you a certificate of attendance, and we are going to give you the policy document. What happened that this state's business agenda we did for last year. So there was a review we did, and this is what we have done here. But eventually you become the governor. I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best, and God guidance.
And the candidate from the ENRP.
This is a certificate was given to you, attendance, you're coming, and in addition to this, we are giving you this policy recommendation document. This is a review of what happened last year, because normally the position issue of the state's business agenda, right? Eventually, the governor will fall back on this and then do the issue, the best successful outcome.
And now the candidate from the Labour Party.
I'd like to Comrade Isare, the MNI, want to appreciate you coming, and we're giving attendance. And COBPA so giving you policy recommendation, which is a review of the state's business agenda they had last year. So which allow you to become the governor, which is going to help you and fall back to this. Make sure you fulfill all the things to bring to this. Thank you very much.
I pray that this certificate also brings certificate of return. So
I wish you all the best.
Hello, gentlemen. Please, we're wrapping up anytime from now. Just a group photo of the debate committee, Pharmacist Bakao and Lee. After which we rise up for the national.
Thank you. On behalf of the chairman, the coalition association, and our party, I wish to express our gratitude to God Almighty for making a reality. This is the third in the series of governorship debate in Kwara State. Without especially appreciating the candidates, most especially those that turn up for this event. It shows commitment to people. Comrade Isa Aremu, a very grateful sir. Eji Mansuma, Mr. Ajia, very, very grateful. Our esteemed peers, we are also very grateful for your conduct and party supporters that are with our candidates. We are also very grateful for your conduct. To our partners side and Kwara Chamber of Industry and all the security agencies. Yes, a Nigeria election debate group ably represented by the Executive Secretary, Mr. Emesi, we are very grateful, sir. And to CIPE, represented by Mrs. Adamosi, we are also very grateful. To our listening audience, we can't thank you enough. Once again, I'm very, very grateful to you all. And as we say in Kwara, it is good here. This is a state of harmony, and we have demonstrated harmonious people. Thank you, and God bless you.
A round of applause for you, please, while we all rise for the national anthem. Again, we're wrapping up, but first, we must take the national anthem. Please, everyone, please, let's stand. After the count of three, please, the DJ, do we have that? DJ, the national anthem once again. To close this particular event. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of this program. DJ, please. All right. All movements, please, everyone. Let's stay still for the national anthem. DJ, we're waiting on you. Thank you very much for coming for the 2019 Kwara Governorship debate. Organized by KWACOBPA, that's the Kwara Coalition of Business and Professional Associations, in conjunction with the Nigerian Elections Debate Group and the Center for International Private Enterprise. Thank you.